Hello, everyone. This is MMA Interesting Prospects podcast. Today, our guest is Eric McConico. Hello, Eric. How are you?
How you doing, man?
I'm good, thanks. Eric, in your last fight, you beat a very good opponent in Tyler Ray. It was beginning of February. So, if you can tell me, what do you think about this fight and what should be next for you?
Um, this fight is just kind of like the same thing. I mean, I every fight's like a high competition fight to me, and every fight could be my last fight. And just going there with a good focus on just trying to finish this fight. And what's next? I don't know what's next. I'm just signing the contract and just fighting, man.
And right now, are you with contact or contract with any promotions? Promotion?
No, no, I'm not contracted with no promotions um at all. My management company uh pretty much talks to my coach, and my coach tells me, and we go ahead and see if we want to take a fight or not, or take that fight.
And I think that actually many promotions should want you on their roster because you are right now on 4 fights winning streak against really good opponents. So I think that you would be a very good addition to uh, actually any promotions roster.
Thank you.
And I saw on Topology that you fought in many weight classes from lightweight to light heavyweight and even few catchweight fights. So if you can tell me if the middleweight is the best weight class for you.
Yeah, I think middleweight is for now. I think with me getting older, I used to cut to 172. But I think middleweight's like the perfect for me because I kind of keep my muscle mass and I have a lot more energy, and the dieting is a lot easier. And yeah, I like middleweight right now.
And probably the biggest win of your career against Maki Pitolo was also a middleweight fight.
Yeah, I'm very happy that he actually stepped in and took the fight. Um, yeah, that was definitely a yeah, that was definitely a fight. That was definitely a opponent I had to make sure I was gamed in that night because he's been there. He's been in those fights. He's a tough fighter, tough competitor. He has a crazy good left hook. He's good all around, dude. So yeah,
And if you beat this kind of opponents, I think that your place probably should be in the UFC.
thank you. Um, yeah, that's the plan. Start getting some money for this. You know what I mean?
And if you can tell me, what was the first combat sport that you ever trained? Was it a MMA or do you have any other kind of background?
I used to play football. So I played football in high school, played a little bit of football in college. Football didn't really work out. And just kind of, I wrestled in high school my senior year. And when I was like 23, I still just kind of had that itch to be competitive and stuff. And I just started doing jujitsu. And that's kind of how I kind of started.
And I think that your first amateur bout was against Austin Vanderford. So he is actually a very good opponent, a very good
Yeah.
fighter overall.
Yeah, he was, man. I trained for like 2 weeks. The place that I was training at, they were like, "Hey, we got a fight for you. No one wants to take this. No one wants to accept a fight against this guy." And I was like, "All right, cool. I'll fight him." And yeah, actually, after that fight, me and him actually became pretty good training partners. We started training together for like good 4 years, for I think about 3 or 4 years, man. One of my best buds. Pretty cool.
Uh,
But
And
yeah, fought him.
and right now you are training in MMA Lab, right?
Yes.
So how did you get to one of the best gyms actually in the world?
Um. So one of my old teammates that I used to train with, he went down there, and I kept an eye on him, and I watched one of his fights, and he was just really good, dude. I already knew he was good, but he just really showed a lot of good striking and stuff. And me and my wife we got the place we were living at renting out they sold it, so we had to move. And at that time, I didn't know if I wanted to continue the journey or, wrap it up. You know what I mean? And I wanted to give it another shot. And I already knew of the gym. I already knew the gym was great. I already knew the guys who were there, and pretty much like when I came down here and I visit, it was so family oriented. You know, I have 5 children, and I just fell in love with just that aspect, and just the environment there is just great, man. It's good energy. Yeah, and I had to work my way to get on the team, and now I'm here.
And they of course got many great fighters. One of the like icon is of course Benson Henderson. But
Yes.
who is your like regular sparring partner in your last few fights?
Uh, Pretty much everybody, man. Like we kind of dabble with everybody. You know, we all go in. You know, I spar with Jared here and there. I spar with Ben sometimes. There's a couple upcoming guys like Alec Lorenzo. I spar with him a lot. He's a 205er. Bruce Xavier. I spar with him. Dwight Grant. He was just in the UFC. Dwight Grant. Um, and just a lot of rounds, man. It's just we just kind of have rounds, man. We do about 12 rounds, you know, on spar days. Like we just go around and do it. So every work is good work. Every person I go with in there, from 135 to from flyweight to my weight of 205, is just good work, great work, different 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 looks, different speed, you know.
And you said Jared Cannonier. He's probably a great sparring partner for you because it's like similar size, and of course
Well,
he's like top middleweight in the world.
I mean, I don't have to say much. I mean, just saying his name, you already know. You know, definitely, he teaches me a lot, shows me a lot. Um, and he does that for a lot of people. You know, he shows us, you know, do this, do that. But yeah, you're right. I mean, that's the highest level. You know, and yeah, it's definitely great. Uh, it's definitely great and a great opportunity to be able to get those rounds in with him and to do those things and to really learn. You know, learn different level of the game.
And when you are in the training camp, how does your like usually like normal day look like? How many times do you train in this day?
I train at least twice a day. So usually I'll get there in the morning. I either do strength conditioning on a day, or I'll do pad work, or I'll do jiu-jitsu class. And then we have team practice from 3 to 5. So Monday through Friday, I'm usually there in the morning. Sometimes it's hard for me to make it in the morning because I work full time and I work overnight. So the majority of the time, I'm usually in there at least 3 to 4 times a week in the morning, and then in the evening we have practice, and then Saturday we spar, and Sundays I do some active work.
So
So yeah, I'm
all of the day you are training.
pretty much, yeah, I'm full time worker, full time fighter, full time father.
So
So yeah,
definitely a busy man.
yes, that's why I sound sorry, because I'm at my work site right now.
And if the UFC contact you for like 2 or 3 weeks short notice fight, would you be able to cut weight to middleweight division?
Yes, right now I'm eating my carrots. Yep. They called me today and they said, "Hey man, we need a guy next week." Yeah, I'll make that weight.
Because I think that definitely because of your last few performances, you are like the guy to watch on the scene. So this is, in my opinion, quite possible that you will get this call.
Thank you, man. It's very hard to get in the UFC, and I'm just appreciative having my name being brought up in between it, man. So,
How many fights would you like to have this year?
um, well, it depends. Whatever comes to me, I'll take. And if I did get a short notice call, I'll try to get as much fights as possible. If I got that short notice and I got in there, I would try to get as many fights possible. Whatever.
And for now, you are quite experienced fighter. And what kind of style do you like to fight against?
Wrestlers. I like to fight against wrestlers.
So it's not a common thing because usually fighters don't like to face wrestlers because they are like relentless and they
Very
are
relentless.
quite tough to beat. And you said like from the for not even thinking about it that the wrestlers are the fighters that you like to fight.
Yeah.
And overall, what is a main goal for you as far as the MMA career?
MMA career. Honestly, my whole journey is just really to prove to my kids, my family, and for my family, like within my family, to talk about me as my kids and kids have stories about how their grandpa, he fought, he did this, he tried that. That's more my goal with the whole MMA thing of journey. And my job is just to train and train as hard as I can and do what I'm supposed to do, right? And work pays off. Hard work pays off, and that's kind of where my path is at right now. Like I'm not trying to get too big. I'm just trying to, step by step, brick by brick. And that's what I want for my MMA career as of right now. Just letting my children know, like, you have something, you have a dream, you have something that you want to do, chase it. And if you're chasing it, put everything into it as possible. And hopefully I can blueprint that. And, if this is my journey ends here or whatever, cool. Maybe my kids might pick off of what have I done and how much I did, and they might carry it more, just trying to get that blueprint for my children, for my family.
I think that it's a great like way of thinking that you can like give your kids this kind of lesson that if you want something you need to work and try to accomplish it, whatever result will be, you need to try to do it.
Yeah.
And who is your favorite fighter to watch?
Dude, now since I've gotten so much more detail, dude, I like watching everybody, dude. I like watching all the strikers. I like watching Kane. I like watching Jared Cannonier. I like watching John Jones. You know, I like watching Gilbert Burns. I just pick out little things that a lot of these fighters have, and they all have their thing. Sometimes like watching the aggressive. Some fighters are just this relentless. I like watching Khabib. Some guys are like this technical, relentless, and man, it's like watching it. I like watching everything, man.
So too many names mentioned.
Too many
to mention.
names, man. I just like watching. I like watching it, man. I like Max Holloway. I like watching the greats. I like watching the people who are coming up. Um, I like watching Kevin Harler because he's sitting there talking, talk shit a little bit and so normal. I like watching that.
And do you have a fighter in the UFC that you would like to face someday?
Whoever signed the contract, man. To be honest with you, I don't really have any participate in what person that I want to fight because I have no animosity against nobody. It's all competition, and whoever signs that, that's who I'll be cool to fight.
I think you against Kevin Holland would be a very good fight.
Interesting, huh?
But sometimes
Interesting.
this kind of like short notice opportunities like appear, and you can fight against even a ranked fighter.
Yeah, yeah. I'll do whatever. I'll do whatever to get in there, man.
And if you can tell me what is in your opinion the best thing about being a MMA fighter?
The journey, man. the journey, the journey, man. It's such a humbling journey. It can be such a humbling. You know, uh, it shows you a lot of hard times, and hard times don't last, but strong people do. And when I'm done with this, I'll know if I'm a strong person or not. But the journey, man. I think that's the best part about this is the journey, man.
And of course you like like and appreciate the journey. But before your fights, do you feel any like stress or additional nerves?
Yeah, man. Feels like a roller coaster, you know, and I think it's all these emotions that go through that you're going through, and you know, it's like little steps that you tell yourself. I tell myself, I look into the crowd, I make sure I look at my coach, I start to calm myself down to like, you know, it's a spar. It's not a spar. It's a higher intensity spar session. Now you can get knocked out, so your defense better be on top. But it ain't nothing more. You know what I mean? This is actually the fun part of sparring. This is actually the fun. It's fighting, the event. That's the fun part. Practice is the hard shit.
And the like harder the sparring is, the easier the fight usually goes. So if you have this kind of hard sparring session, the fight is like no problem.
Yeah, you spar a cannoneer. Yeah, not too many. Yeah, we got some real tough guys. So yeah, a lot of my spar sessions are a lot more harder than just getting in that fight.
And outside of fighting, let's say that you have free time after your fight, do you have any like passion or hobby, the things that you like to do?
Usually I try to kick it with my kids. Kick with my family. We used to go do things. Now we're getting back into it, but you know, I work a lot too. So sometimes, like my last fight, I went back to work. Like I fought that Friday, flew home Saturday morning, went back to work Sunday. So sometimes, too. Sometimes I work, or sometimes we just kind of hang out and have movie night at our house.
And one last question. If you what is like your overall main goal for this year? It can be either like from your personal side or professional one.
Professional, I would like to be in the UFC. I think that's everybody's goal that's not in the UFC to try to get into the UFC. And personal, I just would want to just keep trying to get 1% better within my life, with being a father, with being a husband, with being a friend, was just in general, my life in general, as trying to get better person than I was last year.
Okay, Eric. So many thanks for the conversation. I hope that the goal will happen, and we can see you in the UFC this year against anyone. Maybe like unranked fighter, maybe the ranked one. But I think that in this point of your winning streak, it's like hard to deny you as the like really high level fighter.
Thank you, man.